Speaker Nancy Pelosi came out and she said she wanted to do an investigation into those opposed to the mosque, the opposition to the mosque, and their funding and so forth. Did you hear about that, and how do you feel about it?
I'm not opposed to it, but I'm more opposed to it than I'm for. So if she wants to investigate me, she's welcome. She's going to find it very boring, you know, but if she wants to investigate, investigate.
The president came out on behalf of the issue and spoke on it. Do you believe as a president he should have weighed in on the issue or kept silent about it?
You know, politicians get asked and get put in situations where sometimes they have to make a statement. I think it's not what the president said that was wrong. You know, after all, he's the president of the United States of America. He's the president of everybody. He was hosting a Ramadan function, so he had to make some kind of a statement with regard to this issue.
So far, it's going to backfire on him in a way, because the people, you know, actually most of the people are against this mosque being built over here. But, you know, he's got to say what he's got to say. I mean, he can't say no, you can't build it. So if I was president, I got to say yes, because you're doing it according to the laws of the United States. And what can you do? The laws of the city.
It certainly was not to his advantage to do so, but perhaps he was being pressured by Mayor Bloomberg or the New York congressional delegation, and they wanted him to say something.
As you know, the Muslims are trying to build a mosque just 2 blocks away from the site of the World Trade Center right here. And we know that...
Sorry. What bothers me are folks like Sarah Palin, Mr. Gingrich, these folks who make statements just to generate votes among right-wing extremists in this country, you know, for the upcoming elections or for the future running for the White House. That's what bothers me.
From my perspective, they're taking advantage of our good kind-heartedness, and they're actually like making a statement saying they can do whatever they want and we have no recourse. But Mr. Obama, this is our country, it's not theirs. You're our president, you're not their president. You should be taking care of the American people, not a foreign religion. This is America.
He normally should not get involved in local politics. You know, he's only going to piss somebody off.
You know, being a Muslim himself, it's kind of a difficult situation for him to say anything. He doesn't want to anger the Muslim community. He also doesn't want to anger the people that, you know, the 9/11 people that don't want the mosque built. But I think he should have just stayed out of it.
I kind of agree with what somebody else said, that there's a lot more important things that he could be talking about. He should have stayed out of it.
You're from New York, correct?
Yes, I am.
What would you say is the overall opinion around New York City with the mosque in New York?
I believe more New Yorkers are going to disagree with it than agree with it. Definitely don't want it here. Absolutely.
Would you say it's overwhelming?
Overwhelming, yeah. Definitely. Especially for this area, it's abundantly overwhelming. Yeah, because you have a lot of residents that live here, you know, and a good number of those residents were directly affected by 9/11, as myself. I live in the area, I worked in the Trade Center, and the mosque so close to Ground Zero, I think it's just a bad idea. If there was no other space in Manhattan where you say, well, this is the only space, all right, then I understand their point. But I mean, look at Manhattan. There's buildings all over the place that are vacant that you could use to build a mosque. It just doesn't need to be built right here.
Do you believe it's right for them to build it 2 blocks away from the World Trade Center?
Absolutely. They should build a cultural center, which is what they're planning on doing. It just so happens that it's actually going to house a facility for prayer, but it's really a cultural center. They've coordinated with a bunch of agencies here in the city to get this done, and I think it's a great thing.
What do you believe the general overall sentiment of New Yorkers is towards the mosque so close to the World Trade Center?
It's probably divided on the religions, you know, what religion they are. If they're Muslim, they want it. If there's survivors or families of victims, they don't want it. So I'm not from New York, but I feel about the way the families do. I think it's a little too close.
Speaking of President Obama, just last week he actually weighed in on the issue, and he technically came out in support of the mosque. Do you believe that was right for him to get involved in this whole debate?
No, I don't. I think he always stepped his bounds. His job is to represent the American people, not foreign interests, not religions from all around the world. He's our president for our people. Our welfare comes first. Other people's considerations and feelings should be a secondary issue. And he's got it backwards. He's making the mosque the primary issue for his presidency. He works for us. he does not work for them. And he's got to remember that. Election day is coming fast.
But ultimately, this is a local issue in New York City that people in New York and the city of New York should handle it. And I am so proud to say that people in New York have much more open-minded and much more inclusive and much more of an American way of thinking than all these folks coming from other places.
Why are you guys here today?
We're here to show our support for the building of the mosque.
And last week, the president actually weighed in on the issue, and he came out with his own opinions and thoughts. And do you think he should have done that? And do you agree or do you disagree?
I'm not sure what he should or shouldn't have done. I personally think he probably should have kept his mouth shut, maybe, or gone about it a different way. But I did not agree with his opinion.
This country is, well, the right-wingers in this country are zeroing in on the most absolute non-issue.
In those countries, they don't allow churches and synagogues to be built. In countries like Saudi Arabia and Yemen, Iran, you could bring a Bible into Iran, they'll cut your hands off.
We have people, Native Americans, African Americans who probably were not allowed to walk on the streets of these things, and now it's Muslims' turn.
That everyone who follows Islam is not necessarily aware of even the Quran's teaching or would believe that that's the case, but for the powers and the high-ranking Muslim leaders, I think they know exactly that this is a sign that they would say is a victory for Islam and down with America, etc., etc. Their leaders have said that the world will submit to Allah. That's not religious freedom.
And last week, President Obama came out in support of the mosque. Do you believe that was the right or wrong thing for him to do?
I believe he should have kept a quiet sort of seal on that type of thing. I don't think it was right for him to say yes or no.
I know some firemen that said there were bombs in those buildings. I know some firemen that said there were bombs in those buildings. Now, what firemen are we going to talk about? How they get the bombs in the building?
What are you talking about, bombs in the building? You know what? It was a horrific event. I lost a lot of friends here, family members and stuff. It's very upsetting. It's very upsetting to be walking down this area.
President Obama came out on the issue of the mosque and technically in support of it. Do you think it was the right or wrong thing for him to get involved on the issue?
I mean, I think it took a lot of courage. I have a lot of respect for him to say it. From someone who studies politics, I think it's really stupid.
Are you personally friends with the Imam? Are you personally friends with him?
I'm a follower of his. I've been following him for like 20-something years. We've known each other that long, yes.
Is there a reason why he won't sit down with Governor Patterson and talk about relocation?
There's no point to relocate. We should be here. It would be good for us to be here only because people need to understand what is Islam and what is not Islam. And unfortunately, through the 9/11 tragedy, a distortion has happened.
I still have flashbacks of what happened that day. You know, seeing dead bodies on the ground. It was horrible.
Absolutely no way one can judge the feeling of a Muslim American when they're not allowed us a place for prayer. Do you realize what that means?
There are over 200 mosques in Manhattan already.
No, we want a mosque right here.